Hey there, Leander here. You're watching the second in a series of 3 videos under the topic Understanding Practice Development Strategy Principles. In video number 1, you may recall that we covered the topic of what is strategy as it relates to a law firm or a professional services firm, and I explained to you that it involves 2 concepts. The first concept was, yes, developing a set of actions, and secondly, that'll make your firm or your practice more valuable to your clients than competitors. And today I'm going to share with you first a story and then make a couple of points with reference to a really great book and then apply it to the concept of embracing simplicity. So let's rewind to 2021. I've just started my consulting practice and I'm wondering, what should I offer clients? And I pitch myself as a business consultant and I end up trying to be and do everything for everyone. And I end up not getting a single instruction, not a single instruction. 17 clients said no to me because my value proposition wasn't simple and clear. Fast forward to 2024, and I asked myself, after having read the book, The 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch, and I asked myself, if I'm doing 5 things, which of those 3 are really valuable? And if I'm doing 3 things, if I'm rendering 3 services, what is so valuable that I can sell only that and then scale that? And what I'm doing at the moment is the outcome of such a deep question and answer session that I had with myself, thinking about what is truly valuable for my clients. And what I'm doing now is focusing on strategy implementation for law firms. The other 4 things that I thought were valuable have fallen by the wayside. So I've made my practice simpler, and now it's far easier to scale, to take on more clients because I have a very simple value proposition. I help lawyers work smarter, not harder. Right. So why simplicity, you may ask? Now let's just make a couple of points with reference to Richard Koch's great book. He says, firstly, that complexity, a complex practice, leads to taking on marginal business. What is marginal business? We'll touch on that in a moment. And that also, complexity also reduces focus on what is simple and profitable. Marginal work is that type of work, that type of instruction where a client doesn't really see you as a trusted advisor. They don't see you as a thought leader. They just see you as someone they can trust to do very low-level basic work, a commodity service. You can think of your own practice and think of what work really doesn't require a very special set of skills or expertise. That's what I'm talking about, clients who want that type of service. However, clients who are not marginal clients, they don't just contribute to paying the water and lights, right? The overheads, because that's what a marginal client does. Valuable clients contribute to creating equity, the margin or the gap between your top line profit and your bottom line top line revenues at least, and bottom line profits. But we'll get into some of the accounting principles in a moment. Let's see what Koch says further. He says to make a practice more profitable, make it simpler. It's actually astonishing. We were all taught that you have to be really complex. It's not the truth. And then he says, and then scale the new highly profitable practice. What does scaling mean? I'll forgive you and you'll have to forgive me, but I didn't know what the word scaling meant until I started researching and running my own business. And it just means with the same resources, creating higher revenue without the costs tracking the revenue. So you're scaling using the same resources at a very basic level. So simple, he says, is beautiful. Think of this rose I tried to introduce there. Think of the tulips in the Netherlands, in Keukenhof. They're beautiful, right? But they're simple. And complex is ugly. Think of the ugliest jersey or warm jacket you have in your cupboard. Yes, it's warm, it's functional, but it's really ugly. Okay, think of that difference. Right. So that's the point of the story that I told you. And here's some more interesting insights from Richard Koch. He says contribution to overheads. So the excuse that, oh, Leander, just also take on that client's work is the lamest, one of the lamest excuses for inaction. What he means is you haven't taken action. You haven't decided to say no to that. So you're afraid. And so you try and tell everyone that you're there to help them with every single business consulting problem that they have. And that led to 0 revenue in my case. Okay, so here's the kicker. Choosing to say no to marginal clients and marginal work is one of the most strategic things that you will ever do. It's saying no instead of saying yes, which is our inclination. I've drawn up this table. Please pause the video and look at the aspect column, then look at what it looks like before simplifying. Ask yourself, is this perhaps where my practice is? And then look at the right-hand column and ask yourself, is this perhaps what a simplified but very profitable and a scalable practice can look like? I'm not going to go through each of these in detail, but please feel free to pause the video and we can discuss it at any time. So how do you say no to a marginal client? It's almost the elephant in the room. Leander, you don't understand. I have this client who I've been working with for a very long time, and he's given me very valuable work, but now he wants me to do this little matter for him or for her, right? Or a corporate client. They also want you to do the really magistrates court level collections where you should be doing very specialized work for them. Here's how you do it. You say to them, you simply look them in the face and smile and say, thank you for the instruction. Unfortunately, I must say no. Just smile and pause and look them in the eye. This is going to take some bravery, but if you just stick to your guns, and if they ask why, you can explain to them. You can say that, as we've seen in video number 1, I've started, this could be the discussion. I'm role-playing now. I've started looking strategically at my practice. I've segmented my practice. I've looked at where profit lies, and I've checked where I can be competitive, and I'm working with a strategist. And unfortunately, this is not the type of work that's going to position me. I'm happy to continue doing the other work that is valuable and that we've been doing for a very long time. But what I can do is I'd like to help you in a different way. And we all thought that clients think or want us to do all their matters. They just want help. They want a good service, fast, at a reasonable price. And you can tap into your network and go and find someone who can do those low-level collections, if that's, in our example, if that's the marginal work that they want you to take on. And you can introduce your client to that attorney. And I bet you, because I also know what you're going to say now, oh, Leander, if I introduce a competitor of mine to my client for their marginal work, I might lose my client. Well, guess what? And you weren't doing such a great job. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth. Think about it for a moment. If you were doing such a great job on the high value work, would they even consider firing you just because you've referred the marginal work away to someone who's probably better positioned, whose cost structures are smarter, who can do it at a profitable rate, much better than you can, and your client will still be winning? Just think about that. In my time, I was fortunate enough to know that I can't serve all my clients, all of their needs. And so I often referred clients to competitors who do different marginal type work. And not once did I lose any one of those valuable clients for doing that. They thanked me in the end for putting them in contact with the right person. So let's have a look at the financial statements as your financial director would look at it. So we start at revenue, right? And when we deduct the direct costs of the team, the salaries, the matter-related expenses, we arrive at gross profit. So that's the first margin we're talking about that we want to try and keep healthy. Okay, but if we add lots of marginal clients, these maybe not these team salaries, the salaries will stay the same, but matter-related expenses might be added, and that could serve to reduce your gross profit. Let's look at the line from gross profit going down. If you deduct your overheads, your rent, your marketing, your admin, etc., you may once again say, oh, but how does taking on a marginal client reduce that margin? But think about it. If you need more people to administer the admin side of this work, right, that you're doing, you're going to increase the admin account or the admin bill, which means your operating profit is going to reduce too. So the impact of saying no on fees, top line fees, and on your profit at gross profit level or at operating profit level. Saying no to low profit work means saying yes to high fee paying clients, highly profitable work, and healthy margins. Next steps. I want to suggest that you ask yourself the following questions. Firstly, what marginal unprofitable clients do I want to accept? Every time a client comes and they want either an existing client or a new client, ask yourself, is this a marginal unprofitable client? And should I not be saying no? Can I help this client in a different way instead of taking on this work which I know I should actually not be doing? Secondly, to what extent will taking on that client reduce your focus on the profitable clients? Because remember, every time you say yes to someone, you're saying no to someone else. And your A clients, your super valuable clients, need you to be available, more available than just what's left at the end of the day. And that's unfortunately what marginal clients do. They take up a lot of your time. And thirdly, what can and should and will you do about this? Let's discuss this and reach out to me so that we can embrace simplicity and embrace success in your practice. In the third video, we're going to talk about the interesting topic of how to reel in the right clients. Thanks very much for watching.